don't have to whisper. We've been talking normal
Okay.
this whole time.
We're back. Awesome. This is the SilmFilm Script Discussion Season 2, Episode 5, Part 4? 4. Yes. Awesome. Can you count? It's so great. Anyway, so we have we've kind of neglected our purpose in the last part because we were trying to work out where the end of Act 3 was. But oh no, that's not what we were doing. We were working on our bad guys, which are in Act 3.
Yeah.
And what they're doing.
Got
so
the Alex stamp of approval.
Yes.
Bad guys are good. Act 3 fodder.
Well,
You need them.
Yeah.
the question is, because I really feel like Sauron has to describe what he's doing. He has to explain it, and Thuringwethil seems like the natural person for him to talk to.
That's his confidant. So.
Yeah.
Right. She's the one that needs to know everything.
Yeah, and I would, since Thuringwethil, I don't want her just to be a mannequin that he could talk to. Like, I don't want her to
Right.
be filled,
Yeah. Of course.
like if she could be replaced with the lamp with the potted thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's fair.
Her job is to be a spy and hear what's going on and bring back information. Is there anything that she could have been picking up? He could be like, so what is so-and-so saying? All right, does anyone know about this? Does he?
Right.
He's been utilizing her
Yes.
as a spy.
So
Okay.
Does she know it, or is she?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Does
Her-
Gothmog know
Okay.
that Sauron is making werewolves? Because if not, then that's what he would be asking her. Have I been able to keep this under wraps?
Yeah.
Are they getting
Are
suspicious?
they talking about this down
Right.
at the water cooler?
Right.
And that she would be reporting back on the internal politics.
Yeah.
And that's
Okay.
where we would get the hierarchy information. With
Yeah,
Gothmog
and it's good because it
relates to-
highlights the mistrust between the bad guys, which is a big thing. We
Right.
don't want them
Yeah.
to be a unified front because they aren't.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
I think-
In that case, do we want to, because we actually didn't see Gothmog in the last episode.
Right.
Do we want to show a scene of her actually spying on Gothmog plus Balrog Lieutenant number 1?
What would she see?
Well, that's my question. Is
Oh,
that,
okay.
like, what do they?
What do they do in their spare time, those Balrogs?
I know. Like, what is?
Probably kill things.
Freeze.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's terrible.
Sorry, that's my
terrible.
job on these sort of things.
I agree, Alex, that he should totally find out, but not yet.
Phones last night.
I feel like he shouldn't find out until it's too late for him to really do anything about
Okay,
it.
yeah,
He
yeah,
can't stop this. So.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because in some sense, like, if the Balrogs are the muscle and Sauron is the brains and he's inventing new muscle, that's going to be a threat in
Right.
some sense to Gothmog. He's
So-
going to be like, wait, you're trying to replace me with dogs? I'm sorry, what? So that could be like a big fight, but not for this episode.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we could do, I'm thinking, is maybe have Gothmog and Balrog Lieutenant number 1 come in to Angband after a successful murder spree of some kind. Not necessarily, just like, you know,
Who are they killing?
with like an elephant slung over one of those backs. or
The
something.
elves that ran into the woods to hide
Still
from the
counts as
sea.
Ooh!
Oh, some of the elves that ran off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You see him
That would be
with
great.
their
Picking
dead
them up,
bodies.
purging
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh.
Oh.
Well, here's a question: or would they be live bodies?
Oh,
Oh.
yeah, no, we need
No,
to.
Not yet.
Gothmog kills them.
Gothmog
Gothmog
doesn't.
sees
Okay.
Gothmog's not.
He's
No,
not
it's like
killing
in
them for more Gothmog.
Right.
Well, yeah,
Call
well,
him
it should turn into
Rodney.
more orcs, maybe. Yeah.
I guess that's Balrog Lieutenant number 1.
Roggy.
Roggy.
I like it.
He's the one that Gandalf eventually kills.
Oh,
Roggy the Balrog.
Yes.
Or the one that Balrog kills,
the
or
Balrog.
the one Glorfindel kills, or...
Yeah. One of the important ones.
yeah.
Anyway, so
What?
you want a plushie of a fire demon.
Yeah, no, it's toyetic.
Yeah.
You are completely off your nut. woman.
Yeah.
I like.
No, you gotta work in. You gotta work in these marketing times. Remember, how are we gonna? You know, we gotta find in ways for the demographic to spend more money
yeah.
on the show.
My vision appeals to a different demographic.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
No.
The vision
That's
appeals
true.
to the demographic of Plated City of Heroes. We had an entire supervillain group of tiny little fire demons.
Aww.
The Chibi Balrogs
That's so
was
cute.
Yeah, no, Chibi Balrogs. That's the way to go. See if we can get Funko in on it.
Cute.
Yeah.
Chibi
Oh
Balrogs.
gosh. Alright, so anyway,
Anyway,
so, do we
Picking
see
up
them
one or else.
actually, do we see them actually doing this?
It would make more sense to
yeah,
show
it
that.
would be
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah,
It would
So-
cement, oh, they're really, really
so
bad.
if we showed that in Act 1,
What is that?
so we get a shot of that at least?
And then they're returning to Angband now in Act.
I mean,
Right,
that's not
in
too
Act
many
3 now.
things.
Or even just a hint of it, like the elves
Yeah.
are running off and then there's like this
We hear
Balrog
a
shaped
branch
shadow kind of
crackling
cuts off the
and
view of the camera partway
there's
or something,
glowing
Flame,
you know,
in
or-
the
various
background.
things caught fire, that sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Smoke.
And then
Right.
cut to something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Alex?
Yeah, I don't think we could have a conversation.
No.
Well-
That's not
Yeah, just a
conversation.
hint that something bad's about to happen, but we're gonna cut away.
Yeah, I
and
know.
Look at other things now. and
Right.
I don't think we
not
could
actually
develop
show
those
I agree.
characters, though, it would just get
Off screen.
ridiculous.
Off screen.
Okay, so, Alex is saying that it would do for a mid-Act 2 pinch point. It's not plot relevant, but we've not got a lot to work with, I agree. Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
Alright, so it highlights the kind of the perilous nature of the
Middle-aged.
situation that they're still in,
Yeah.
you know, and that they're running from this storm, which is relatively harmless to them probably, relatively speaking.
Compared to Balrog, yeah.
Compared
those
to
are exotic.
Balrog's height, you know, out in the forest, like
Yeah.
that's
Out of
just,
the frying pan into the fire.
right,
It also kind of,
Literally.
it kind of highlights and makes sympathetic the Valar's, what we think is like bad decision, to bring the elves to Valinor.
right.
They are in danger, and so there are gonna be people who watch this who are gonna be like, well, I mean, if there's Balrogs running around killing things, maybe they should go to Valinor.
Right.
Yeah.
So
They should, I feel like that's
complicates
important,
it
that they
morally.
kind of like the whole, you know, Team Cap, Team Iron Man thing that Marvel had going.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that kind of like, I would love to have people talking about it, like, do you think they should be going? Like, I don't
this
know,
a good
this
decision?
doesn't seem, like, Elmo's not on board with it, and he knew that Melkor was a bad guy from the start, and nobody else was in on that, and so,
Well,
Yeah,
then we
keeping
get
it
into
like a
thinking, do we
very
wanna
brainy
have,
decision,
Yeah.
like it turns out to be a bad decision, but at the time,
It seems like a
it
good
could have
idea.
gone either way,
Right.
like there's good and bad points.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've had multiple times over the course of the season for elves to decide Valinor or Miller, and they decide in different ways for different reasons. So we're getting all the layers of nuance to this that we can.
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
saying it's good.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
glad.
Alex
Yeah.
is kind of bringing up the
Nice.
a really important problem here, is why isn't he just rounding up his guys and attacking them in force? What's restraining them? It's not Sauron.
I mean,
Is it
he's-
Sauron because it's interesting?
He's not under orders to. I get the impression that Gothmog's not like he's not super motivated, he's not super goal oriented. He just likes like hurting things at this point. And
Right.
he's loyal to Melkor, but he kills people in his spare time.
I think-
So it's
Maybe
easy
it's-
picking.
I think Ulmo would be the major thing stopping him from getting.
Yeah,
to
Ulmo,
America.
he
That's a
would,
good
he
point.
would
True.
pick
Yeah.
off helpless elves running into
Oh.
the woods,
Yeah.
but not
With the ones
confront
hanging out with
Uinen
Austin.
and
Yes.
Austin.
Oh, maybe not.
Here-
Especially
here's-
when they're water creatures and
Yeah, I
he's
know.
a
Yeah,
fire creature.
right, if
Pokemon has taught us anything, it's
if
never
several
do
of
that.
the elves run across a
And there's two
river,
of them.
Yeah,
and
The ball
and
stops.
Gothmog approaches the river and like Ase and does Ase ever come in though?
Uinen more likely would be coming up.
Okay, so let's do it then and have her like pop up out of the river and he's like,
Never
okay
mind.
now
Yeah, because I mean
another
he-
time, you know.
He's evil, but he can also be a little bit lazy when
Yeah,
it
oh,
comes.
yeah.
Like, this
Well,
is
it'd be fun to
totally
see
not
what happens
worth
when
it.
a Balrog gets doused with water, actually, it'd be kind of fun to see.
They probably just
Actually,
Yeah,
We
crack and
probably
then crumble in the
will
rock.
see that in the finale of season
It might
1.
even
Yeah.
set up the fact that when
But we
faced
could
with something
use that for
scary,
humor here.
Yeah, yeah.
a
Yeah.
Balrog not
Like
under
the
orders and
why
feeling
does
overmatched
Gothmog
is gonna
withdraw?
run away and come
It
back
could be
later
a
with his friends, because
funny.
it's exactly what they do with Fëanor.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
They run away, and then they're like, oh wait, you've got a
what
level
would
2.
the only thing
Now we'll
funny
go
about
back
it
and
would be
get
kind of the
Yeah.
bravado
Yeah, and
of like the
We're talking.
Sense of
well, I
pride.
don't want them
Yeah.
to, you know, it-
Yeah,
The other thing is that isn't there a line about like something about Melkor being unvalorous? He's not courageous.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most
Like-
of these creatures aren't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so there's this thing about, it's a
Should've
great line, if the scribes can find it, he's about to go into a fight, something happens, he's not brave, and so why would
Yeah.
his hired muscle be?
Well, it might be the bit when Olin calls him out.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
totally does not wanna go out there, and I'm like,
Yeah,
He's
but
an
it's also
elf,
at the
he's
very
so
end
far
when he's
below you.
defeated and his feet are chopped out from under
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Version.
So this can,
It comes up multiple times that
It
Morgoth is not brave. It was even came up today in the
Mm-hmm.
discussion based on the
Yeah.
Morgoth's ring.
which was actually.
Yeah.
And I was saying,
Yeah.
it might
Very
be-
relevant to what
He's
we're.
got that Draco Malfoy runaway kind of.
you might get another parallel of, Balrog facing something that would
And-
actually be a serious fight and retreating,
Yes.
because they're gonna do that with Fëanor.
Yes.
Exactly.
And it comes in,
So-
oh, but now we outnumber him vastly,
Alex-
now we'll do
Alex-
that.
Well, that could put a ticking time bomb on the whole
Yeah.
thing. The one Balrog going back and getting buddies and coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That-
it
that
almost
could-
be like,
And
that
that,
could
that
just stand over.
conversation could be what Thuringwethil is,
Yeah.
Yeah,
is
like this
witnessing.
is one of their
Speaking-
standard tactics.
Speaking
Yes.
of which, Alex has, ever vigilant in helping us, keep on task, is asking, is asking what's going on in Acts 2 and 3 in Valinor. And so, since we've established the construction of the city of Tyrion, this construction can be ongoing, I guess.
It takes 100 years.
Right,
Yeah.
the lighthouse isn't complete, but I feel like, I feel like,
It's not super exciting.
no, it's not, but
No.
what is exciting is human drama.
Yes.
And so I feel
Drama.
like
Is
in
there
Act 2, we're gonna get a scene of maybe having Finwë approach Ulmo and make his request there.
Yeah.
And in Act 3, we're gonna get a scene where the culmination of the fact that the Vanyar are not, they're not gonna hang out.
Yeah.
We have a confrontation between, not a confrontation, not a full-on
It's a
confrontation.
fairly peaceable separation.
Yes,
But there has to have been some conflict or discord leading up to it.
right,
In which the Vanguard are like, you know what, guys, you keep this city. We're just gonna be.
yeah.
I actually.
It's nice that you dedicated the tower to Ingwe, but we're gonna go
But-
there.
Right.
And this was like a slightly more like personal, but like if anyone's ever been through something similar to like a church split or
Yeah.
something where people who genuinely care about each other and love each other and have similar values disagree for some reason, or there's a conflict of interests or styles where it's not necessarily nasty, it doesn't have to be,
Right.
but they just can't live or function in the same way in the same space.
So, yeah, we need some examples of lifestyles and where they're stepping on each other's toes.
Why
Right.
are they why are they at odds?
Why did
are
we get
they-
to this point?
What are,
Right.
well, we will, maybe one or two specific instances, like
Yeah.
maybe, have
Why
that.
did you build a building on this spot? I really
I
liked it
really
without
like
a
the
building
view
here.
and that whole.
Yeah, exactly, there was a
This
view
was my
here.
picnic area.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like Ingwe goes to like his secluded little knoll in the hill.
And there's tink, 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 tink in the background.
Yeah,
of
or
people.
it's got a nice view of the sea and like
And he
No,
goes
somebody's
back to
built a
Scott and
house
the
there.
tower.
When does the Calicuria happen?
Calicuria.
Is the split in the mountains that lets the light of the, that's after the
Hang on, I
Tolarian,
think I
right?
was
So there's no
supposed to-
Calicuria yet?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Well,
So
it's
Tyrion-
mentioning that,
After the island arrives,
Talking
Alex says
about-
he's faster.
Yeah, I thought so. So right
it's
now,
before they build the city,
Okay.
because they reference
But
it
we-
right before they say it, and then they build the city on the hill.
Yeah.
but that's before after the island arrives? Like we have some issues.
But we have, right, we've created these issues,
Yes, I
yes.
know, and that's what I'm trying to keep.
You
track.
have.
Either
you
that or
guys
it's one of those
setting
things
Yeah.
where
counsel for
Tolkien's
yourself.
not
Well,
Tolkien in
okay.
the same order, because he does that sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, what could, like, we could have had that rift have been made, like, we could actually
Okay.
show, the Noldor are building this lighthouse, and it's like peeking over the cliffs, and we can actually show the Valar saying, it was always there. Okay.
No, it wasn't. They make the
They
Calicuria.
made the Calicuria when the island is dropped, so some of the light will get to it.
Yeah, I thought it was related to the arrival of the
Yeah,
Tolarian.
the island shows up, they make the Calicuria, and right in the paragraph after them saying that is, upon the crown of Tuna they built Tyrion. So these key things could actually have been happening at the same time, believably.
Right, I guess where I'm
very
at
close.
is
Well,
trying to
ma-
figure out
Right,
whether
well,
or
like,
not that happens
like
in this
Ulmo,
episode.
well, maybe Ulmo as a show of good faith to Finwë, that he's going to bring the Teleri over, busts open that cove
I-
to let more of the light out, the light from the lighthouse,
Yeah,
so it can be seen from further away.
Putting a cleft in the pillar is gonna be a big deal, and I feel like.
Yeah,
we
you
should-
get the feeling
It's a
like.
big cinematic thing.
And if we
It
wanted to
makes
know
things
what
not
happens in Valinor
tension.
in Act 3 of this episode,
That's it.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
have
could be it, that could be the
a
final
question
straw.
that has nothing to do with this exact thing, but it's relevant to the whole conflict thing. Is, are there gonna be any visual cues giving us the differences between the Noldor and the Vanyar at this point? Are they gonna be dressing differently? Are they going to be,
Mhm.
I
You
feel like
know,
progressively
so
over the
they're-
course
I
of
think they
this
have to be a
episode, it's
different-
been-
they have to have
different
different
we
looks.
have to
Yeah,
have,
I want to see like whites, like
Whites for the
sort of
Vanyar.
druidic almost.
And
looking.
maybe, well,
The,
white and blue,
Or
because they're
almost
the
like-
most loved of Von Wayne.
Yeah,
So-
well, yeah, have the symbolic
having the
colors on.
Vanyar go white and simplistic, monastic,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah.
was the plan.
Right.
And having the Noldor go as completely blinged out with
Ornate.
jewels.
Like reds and brasses and bronzes and.
So-
Yes,
Yeah.
And
Alex,
there's
yes,
always
in answer to
outlets,
your
so that makes
question, yes.
sense.
Yeah,
so,
Gems, you know.
Right,
Yeah.
so the visual distinction should become more clear now.
More
At Middle
evident.
Earth, it wasn't there.
yeah.
yeah.
But as this progresses and as they get more and more divided and more distinct as cultures, we should have visual cues that accompany that.
It'd be
Yes,
interesting
to
too,
that
the
also,
actors
Alex.
we cast too, if we get the Noldor, we can cast people with very strong features and stuff like that. Where
Jaws.
maybe, well, yeah, no, strong jaws, strong noses, and for the other ones that maybe softer, more
Big
feminine,
eyes.
more androgynous looking.
Yeah.
More trustful looking.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
bigger eyes, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's the
Another-
sloping head and the.
There's
All right.
another thing that's in the same
So-
paragraph of building the city of Tyrion, and you know, they're still living in
Maybe it's
Fellowship
back on
at this
track,
time,
yeah.
but that's when they're given the light, the first tree that becomes the light tree.
Yes.
So we have to make sure we get that in there.
That's part of
Ivana
the
makes the
Tyrion,
little
yes.
mini silver tree
Yes.
for them.
Yes.
It's easier
Also.
to do on the screen. All right, so what we've got to do now is we got to get to kind of our climax at this
Yes.
point
Okay.
in Act 4. So we've kind of filled in Act 3. We're probably not going to see a heck of a lot of. I mean, we might see some some activity with the Telerian in Act 3. How does Act 3 end? Well, if Círdan's our guy, then what we've got to do, he's already seen the vision. So what we've got to do is we've got to establish his conflict. We've got to establish. We're going to set up for the climax of the climax of the episode, which is going to be when the boat island gets back.
Yes.
Okay,
The arrival of the boat island is going
it forces
to.
the decision.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right. So we're gonna have to set that up. Who does he have this conversation with?
Who does who?
Who does Círdan have this conversation with that sets up what, that sets up the fact that he's not sure what he's supposed to do here?
Right, well, he can't talk to the girl he's not gonna talk to.
No.
Could be
I
Osseo
mean,
or-
how
or
does
we-
he get along
He should talk to
with
Osseo.
Osseo, yeah.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah, well, I agree that the arrival of the island is the Act 3 break, but we do have to set up something so that when that happens, the fact that it has happened will lead into the climax in Act 4. Okay? So he's gotta be in a conversation with someone, which right now we have Ase and we have Olwe.
I think he should talk to both of them.
Yeah.
Okay,
At different times for different reasons, but
right,
I would say Ase first to work out everything, and after he's made his decision, he needs to explain it to Olwe.
It's definitely one of those, you have to go because I can't kind of thing.
Yes.
I think that his decision
Okay.
is going to help form Alva's decision.
Yes.
Yeah.
all right.
And it's like the whole, it's not because I don't love you, 'cause I do, but I think we need to take different life paths. It's like their romance is breaking up a little bit. Like
Right.
it's a little bit of a sad moment.
Short and sweet.
Yeah, like I want it to be kind of
No,
like
but it's also one of those, I'm stuck here, so you are gonna go and you're gonna have the best damn time ever.
yeah,
Because
Let's
I
do that.
can't.
yeah.
Okay, all right, but if we're, as Alex says, if we're contrasting Círdan with Olwe, does the conversation with Ase not not become the thing that sways Círdan, and maybe the conversation, maybe he has to have a conversation with Ole where they're kind of handling what their decision-making process is with each other.
This is Círdan. I feel like he should go sit on a rock and listen to the waves for 5 minutes and then know what he's gonna do.
That's
Yeah,
true.
after the dream, I had a
That's
dream
so
last night, I'm gonna
climactic.
go commune with the ocean.
But it does
Well,
set
he-
Círdan up as
we don't know
a
what
wise
he's-
character.
We don't know what he's decided,
Yeah.
Mhm.
so I think he should do that and
So
then go
there is
tell
some
Alway.
suspense, cause there's the doubt, like what is he
Right.
gonna do?
He can go tell Alway then and explain, but I
Yeah.
think
But it's boring, Alex says, see your stuff. Anyway, we're gonna take a quick break on that note.
Yeah.
We'll be back in a second. If you're watching this, thanks for watching. First thing I'd like to thank you for. Also, thanks for liking and sharing the videos. It definitely helps us out. If you haven't yet, feel free to subscribe and of course comment down below if you have anything you want to share with us. We'll be back in a minute.